enjoy the podcast. And 20 minutes later, it was edited. And Joe explained later why it was edited. It's because Elon called him and said, you must say you're endorsing Trump. You didn't say it explicitly. Say it. So then the tweet became, Elon makes what I believe is the strongest case yet for Trump, and I'm with him all the way. And to be clear, yes, that is an endorsement of President Trump. Now you have the owner of a platform, the richest guy in America, going on the biggest podcast platform in the world the day before the election to make his case, which he's allowed to do. I'm not blaming that. And then basically pressuring his friend to say something that Joe's never done that, as far as I know. He's never, like, he kind of endorsed Bernie Sanders during a primary, but Bernie was never going to win, and it was like a halfway endorsement in the middle of a podcast conversation. He's never, like, come out and done that explicitly. And Joe's in a position where, like, do you have to say yes to that? And also, like, he happens to agree with a lot of things, righteously so. I understand, like, what's going on and things that happen to him that, you know, Trump more aligns with. And Kamala wouldn't even fucking come talk to him in his studio. I mean, that was insane that she wouldn't do that. So I see all these things, but it's like the pressure builds over and over again to the point that now, you know, Elon just went on his show again a month and a half ago, and I don't envy the position Joe is in. And I think it's really tough to criticize him because it's like, well, that's his friend. They've been through a lot. Like, he's trying to clean up the government. I appreciate that. Like, would I challenge him? I don't know. But then when people come at Joe and say, why the fuck are you just letting him say whatever he wants to say? I understand where those people come from. It's just a really difficult spot to be in, and anyone who says they know how they would handle that is full of shit, including me. I don't know how I would handle that.
So there were a lot of people who used to criticize. There were a lot of people on the right who used to criticize the revolving door of mainstream news, which is someone like Jen Psaki can leave the government and then get an MSNBC gig right away.
Yes.
Compare that ecosystem to, you know, Elon Musk, proximity to Joe, already is in the government, can now also go to Joe anytime he wants to and make his case. And I think people are doing a disservice to their own IQ if they don't realize that these are the exact same thing.
So did you see this podcast Joe did with Ben Lamb, the colossal sciences guy?
No.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but that is a podcast we've been working on for 18 months now. It's either Ben or Matt, one of the two guys. They were each scheduled like one time, and we couldn't line up the schedules, and we're still trying to get it done. But they're, for people that need context, they're the de-extinction science company. So they just recently brought back a genetically modified version of dire wolves. It's not a real full dire wolf, but it was kind of marketed that way. But it's interesting, right? And I'm very interested in what they're doing. So I've had a friendly disagreement with my friend Paul Rosalie over the past couple of years about it, because he's a pure conservation guy. He's lived down the Amazon for 19 years. He's been screaming, trying to save that fucking place. I've been down there. I've seen the work he does. He's amazing. And he has, I would be uneducated to lay out his concerns exactly as he would want them laid out. He'll do that in the future on a podcast. But he has concerns about Colossal and some of the hurt he thinks they may be doing towards conservation, for example. So he laid those out publicly, and he and I were talking about it too. And so he called me and went on like an 11-minute rant that I wish we had recorded, because it was, I want you to picture if like Dave Smith were alive while Vietnam were going on.
That's
and that
so
is
funny.
about like the level. It was biblical. And I was just sitting there laughing the whole time. But he said something in there that was so profoundly perfect, and I'm not going to get the wording right, but it's real. It's a really important point.
Yeah.
Where he was, because again, like, he's friends with Joe Rogan, and obviously Joe put this guy into the stratosphere, and hey, I'm going to fucking bring these guys on too. So it's not like he shouldn't do that or something. He just happens to have a different opinion. And so the way he's looking at this, he said, we've created this ecosystem now that has a lot of positive to it, but it's like you can bring people in for a long form conversation, and they can be a real human being for a few hours, and you can want to get along with them, and they get along with you, and they put things in a really nice way where they can sound like a nice guy and even sound like they have good intentions, and maybe even sometimes they do have good intentions. But when they come through the door, we're in the studio, Nico. But when they do actually come down to it, you know, some of them actually don't have good intentions and are just painting it like they do. And people that are listening to them at the table, like me, like you telling me, like, you need to look out for this kind of thing because you're part of this ecosystem. You can make this mistake. You may want to see the best in this person because just as a human, you want to get along with them. And they sound like they're saying something so interesting to the point that you then, let's say they're a good guy, not a bad guy.